Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney just made a visit to China this January and is preparing to open its doors to Chinese electric vehicles. But only a little. Strict quotas, tight price rules, and heavy pressure from the United States. So what really happened? Why now? And does this deal actually benefit Canada? Let's break it down. Canada and China have reached a limited trade understanding focused on electric vehicles. Chinese-made EVs will be allowed into Canada under a capped quota system. At the same time, China is easing trade restrictions on Canadian canola and seafood, signaling a cautious thaw in trade relations. This is not free trade. It's a carefully engineered compromise. In the first year, only 49,000 vehicles will be allowed into Canada. At least 50% must be priced under 35,000 Canadian dollars. This rule is designed to force affordability, not premium competition. In return, China is cutting tariffs on Canadian agriculture, including canola, where duties drop from around 84% to about 15%, plus seafood exemptions. So this isn't free trade. It's a controlled swap. Cheaper EVs for Canada, tariff relief for Canadian farmers. Shortly after this EV agreement became public, Prime Minister Mark Carney delivered a major speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos. His message was clear. The old rules-based international order is breaking down. Great powers are using trade, technology, and supply chains as political weapons. Carney argued that middle powers like Canada can no longer rely on a single dominant partner. They must build flexibility, diversify relationships, and create strategic room to maneuver. This is not a rejection of the United States. It is a warning that dependence carries risk. The timing matters. This EV deal fits directly into that logic, cautious, limited, and reversible. From China's perspective, this deal is a symbolic foothold. Even limited access to a G7 market carries weight. From a U.S. perspective, it raises concerns. Washington is aggressively blocking Chinese EVs and expects allies to align. Canada is caught in the middle. It wants cheaper EVs and supply diversity, but cannot afford to provoke its closest ally. This agreement reflects that balancing act. Chinese brands likely to target Canada include BYD, Geely, Chery, and maybe more. Compact sedans and small SUVs will dominate, not luxury models. Tesla also plays a unique role. Vehicles shipped to Canada may increasingly come from Tesla's Shanghai gigafactory. That means Chinese-made EVs may enter Canada without Chinese branding. This detail matters politically. The advantages are clear. Lower prices, more competition, faster EV adoption. But the risks remain. Political retaliation, quota uncertainty, thin margins. For consumers, expectations may exceed reality. Chinese EV makers are unlikely to use Temu's aggressive U.S. strategy. Cars require trust, service networks, and regulatory stability. Instead, expect a slow, cautious entry, testing demand rather than flooding the market. Will this create a rush to buy? Possibly, but only briefly. The $35,000 rule creates artificial scarcity. Only 49,000 vehicles are allowed. Half must be affordable. Consumers may rush to buy before quotas fill up. But once the quota is reached, the window closes. This is not a revolution. It's a controlled experiment. So, does this deal benefit Canada? In the short term, yes. It lowers pressure, expands choice, and tests affordability. In the long term, it depends. Carney's Davos speech makes one thing clear. Canada is preparing for a more uncertain world, one where flexibility matters more than loyalty to any single system. This EV deal is not about choosing China over the U.S. It's about not being trapped between them. And the world is watching how Canada handles it. Is Canada being smart or playing with fire? Do cheaper EVs help Canadians or hurt Canada in the long run? Would you buy a Chinese EV under $35,000? Or is this a bad idea?